Hello, and welcome to the Oss-So Crazy podcast. Brought to you by Ranked Soap Company and Fight Back CBD. This episode is brought to you by BESTeas, now available at Whole Foods.
Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Oss-So Crazy podcast. Today we have with us Kyle.
Whatever the hell his last name is.
Caffero. It's alright, guys. It's no big deal.
And he is the founder, CEO,
everything
of BESTeas, which is a beverage company that has unsweetened sparkling teas.
Got it. Nailed it right there. You got the most important part of the name you got, right? And then the concept of sparkling unsweetened tea.
Yes.
You nailed it.
Boom.
So, good job.
I'm glad
proud of you, Jessica. Wonderful work.
Thank you.
You want to say hello?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Kyle. Nice to meet y'all. We're all kind of training partners together, so it's nice to come and talk about Jiu-Jitsu and life and kind of business. And
your business, yeah.
It's kind of weird, but it's cool. I love it. So
yeah,
looking forward to talking about all this with y'all.
So, Kyle, first question. You've done Jiu-Jitsu for a while. So what's your rank? Where do you train at? And how long have you been training for?
All right, so I'm Ramiro Mota's only one-stripe purple belt. He doesn't actually give out belts to stripes to anybody above blue or anybody above blue. But I got a stripe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got it because
Nice.
Ramiro doesn't know the rules of jiu-jitsu. And it was just a joke, but I swept him and he didn't know that it was a sweep. And long story short, we got into a joke fight about it, but he rewarded me a stripe for correctly sweeping him. But yeah, I'm a purple, one stripe, training at Mission MMA in Chicago. It's at Carroll and Ashland in the West Loop neighborhood. I've been training since 2009. I think it's 2009, yeah. So coming up on 10 years. I started February 2009. At Flow back in the day,
nice.
yeah.
Before my time.
Before your time, yeah. Right when Caprito first came to the United States, pretty much. I don't know how long he was here. Less than a year when I first started. I was 21 when I started, and now I'm on the other side of 30, and it's good. But yeah, that's my jiu-jitsu right now. So
You're on the other side of 30, like you're 03?
I'm 3-1 now. Before it was, we don't. It's like a thing. I guess people don't like talking about their age. Once you get older, it's like a thing, but I really don't care. But yeah, I started as a young buck, lost in the world.
I'll be 31 this month.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, we're getting ancient.
We're
almost as old as Joe.
I know you guys are going to catch me one.
Uh-oh. We have some technical difficulties. Joe is actually out of studio right now, but we're trying to get him in as a call, but
it's very difficult today. I don't know why.
His internet is blocking us right now. It hates the Oss-So Crazy podcast.
Yep.
Is it Comcast? Because I know they got these issues.
No, I wanted to actually ask something. If Dietz, maybe you can move the file around after. I wanted to just ask a couple questions because before I take off, it's just going to be like, if that's okay, would that be all right, Dietz, that you can move it around?
Go for it.
No, it's not okay, Joe. You cannot. You can't ask anything.
I don't know you that well. It's all these two. No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was going to see on your Facebook, it looks like you're in Whole Foods.
Yeah, so we're in Whole Foods all across the Midwest. We launched in April. So in all 56 stores across the Midwest. It's Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana, in case you wanted to know what the Whole Foods Midwest region is.
Yeah.
I don't have that memorized.
Nebraska, even?
Nebraska, yeah.
Nebraska,
Once you make it to Nebraska, you really know, okay, we've got
Yeah.
something here. Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's
Like,
epicenter of
awesome.
beverage.
you can find these out in the cornfields?
Yeah. Just 2 stores out there for now. But yeah, it's out there.
How did you get started in it? Is this something you just
So I came from the beverage industry. It's been I think about 6-7 years now that I've been in the beverage industry. I started as a demo person and just worked my way up. And about 3 years ago, one of the brands I used to represent was an iced tea that was organic and fair trade. It was very similar to Arizona iced tea. It was called BESTeas. And they asked me what their innovation should be. And I was a really cool position in my old job where I can see what's going on in the beverage world. So I saw that sparkling water is growing really crazily. Like, it's out of control. People are drinking LaCroix all over the place. And then ready-to-drink tea is a pretty big thing as well. So the co-founder of that company asked me what their innovation should be. And I said, well, sparkling unsweetened tea. It's gonna, like, they had a tea brand. I think it's in a can. You put it in, they had everything it took to, like, do it. But he didn't really see what I was talking about. And I let that sit in my head for a few months. And then one day I said, all right, I'm doing this thing. And that was October 24th, 2015. And ever since then, it's just been like a crazy journey of I have to get this done. I have to get this launched. And now getting it to everywhere it needs to be. And it's kind of... Go ahead.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, now does distribution become a problem for you? The logistics, or does someone handle that for you for hitting all these different?
We just work with distributors, right? That was my old job. So I came from the industry. So I had I managed other beverages before, so I understood like how to get products from a warehouse to a shelf, right? So. We have distributors. I don't have time to be going. If I distributed myself, I would lose my mind. But we are working on a little bit of our e-commerce side to help grow that because the internet is so powerful. But for our physical retailers in the Midwest here, we're with all distribution partners, and they do a good job, and they get it to the place. They get to the stores on time, and everybody's happy, and they pay me on time, and I give them the product when they ask for it, and it's pretty simple, beautiful relationship.
Nice.
That sounds very cool.
So let me ask you this. Is this something you would want to take on Shark Tank?
So Shark Tank, I mean, we could go on there. I have friends that have been on there, and for me, it really doesn't really make much sense. So what they're doing there, they want to invest in your company, but ultimately they like want to get a return on that investment. And so a lot of times people like start businesses, like food businesses in particular, and their ultimate goal is to sell it. And that's like part of the culture. That's part of the like reason why those investors and all that like exist. And I don't have that goal in mind. Like that would not be success to me, is to sell this and become some crazy rich guy. I just kind of want to make a drink that's affordable and accessible for everybody. So going on there would be great exposure, but also would like set us up to go down a path where we don't really want to go. So, I mean, Shark Tank's great, but I really don't think we really need it. The exposure would be great, but my one thing I was like been saying for a while now is like the sharks didn't need to go on Shark Tank, become sharks.
True.
So it's kind of like that mentality. I don't need that. I can just
it seems myself. Like you guys are really growing a lot on your own. So
it feels like nothing. It feels like because it's like jiu-jitsu, like the progress. You're like every day you're like just pushing and trying to get a little bit further, but you don't really see it. You know, it's like over a year it's been now, and it's cool to see it grow. But like it's just day to day. You're like mentally you don't feel like you're progressing. Like you don't get these crazy leaps and bounds in jiu-jitsu, right? Like you just get steadily like sharpness in your technique. And eventually you're like, oh, I can use this technique on pretty much anybody now. But it's a long process. So, yeah, I'm aware that we're growing, but it's like mentally I don't feel, oh, yeah, this is great. Like it's a lot of work. So
So when Joe mentioned the Shark Tank thing, I was thinking of our Shark Tanks where we beat up everyone.
Fight everybody. I love those.
On our birthday. Or on our birthdays, we just have a bunch of sharks come in and beat us up.
Yeah.
And then with Shark, you guys are called the Land Sharks, right, over at Ramiro's?
Ramiro, we have all sorts of nicknames. I feel like it's me. Like Ramiro's good at making out nicknames, but I've really brought the craziness in terms of the nicknames. So he was calling people sharks, and then saying everybody was sharks, while I was saying like some people are tunas because people are getting beat up, and so it's just kind of like it just kind of went into some crazy thing, and now I call myself the King Tuna of the gym, and it's just madness. It's just kind of like to have fun with it. And then you guys had the Avengers or whatever. I don't know. Those guys were another group, and I was just like, it's like fake gang stuff. It's not really. I mean, Domenico and all those guys had the
the villains,
the villains or whatever. Yeah. I don't, sorry for disrespecting the but as the King Tuna, I kind of...
You're going to have to walk the gauntlet now.
I ain't worried about that.
You hear that, guys? He ain't worried about you.
The villains versus the tunas.
This King Tuna is going to devour the villains.
It's No, we just have a lot. We have a lot of fun over there. So we have a lot of nicknames. It's good.
Nice.
Good at naming things, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So, to our audience, Joe had to go, and we were having some of those technical issues, but he wanted me to tell you that he knew a lot of friends, or he knows a lot of friends that own grocery stores, and this was like his subject, so it's like, it's unfortunate timing that...
it's like his day.
Yeah.
I gotta call.
He was the main podcaster today, too. But yeah, he wanted you to know he has friends in this business.
All right, wonderful. Yeah, it's good to know people. That's kind of how we got into Whole Foods, and yeah, just networking and getting, networking goes a long way in life. So I'm a big advocate for that. Right, just kind of connecting the dots and putting things together. And hey, you know that person, and then just kind of like, oh, something good happens from that.
We interrupt this program to bring you a quick announcement. For a limited time, all batches of Fightback CBD will be made with bulletproof brain octane. And you can rest assured that no other company will be using high-quality materials like this. So we're a little crazy, but would you be listening if we called this the Oss-So Normal podcast? I don't think so.
So, you mentioned that you were working with beverage companies before, too. Mm-hmm. So, is that just something you always, wanted to do? Were always passionate about, or?
It is weird. Kind of got into the beverage industry by accident. I was at Elmhurst College studying physics in my sophomore year. I went back to school a little bit later after a little bit of time off. And I was studying physics, and I knew physics was not for me. And I was dating a girl that was in the food and beverage industry, and one day I had to do a demo for her. I just started in the industry, and the first day I did it, I kind of just it just clicked. I was like, I could either be the world's worst physicist, or I knew something special. I knew there was a special path for me if I stayed in that industry. So as soon as I found myself in there, I was like, all right. I kept on growing and networking myself into opportunities, and it just kind of all took care of me. But I was never like, oh yeah, I'm obsessed with beverage or whatever. It was just kind of came together in this weird way. And yeah, before you know it, I was like, all right, now I have my own beverage company. And it's weird. I was like, it's still weird to think about. I don't really understand it sometimes. I'll be like, somebody was like, oh yeah, I tried this thing. And I'm like, yeah, I made that. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I worked on it for 2 years, and then we made it, and now I'm here. And it's just, it's not something, that a lot of people from where I'm from do, and a lot of people, I don't know anybody else that's doing something like this, so it's a cool thing.
So it wasn't like you were staring at a can of RC Cola one day and were like, I like you.
I probably at one point, RC's great, but no, yeah, it just kind of came
together. That's awesome.
It's a weird path, man. It's cool.
I know I always feel super proud whenever I see your BESTeas cans at Whole Foods. So I know that guy.
I mean, that store, so the Schaumburg store is an important one for me. So back when I first started with a coffee company, so it was a ready-to-drink coffee, just coffee in a can. And I was demoing there, and there was a big display in one of those front coolers for that company. And on a Tuesday, I got a call from my boss, this girl that I was seeing, but I was no longer seeing at that time, but we were still friends and working together. She called me crying. She said, hey, the company, Bean and Body, just got discontinued. This is the end of November of that time. And she said, we have till end of January, you can still work, you can do as much as you want, but until then, everything's it's done. They're not producing it anymore, and it's just not going to work, blah, blah, blah. And so I was oh, what the heck, right? I found myself into this industry that I was really passionate about, and I didn't know what to do. So I was like, oh man, and to think, all right, now I path in this industry that I thought was something cool, it could be over. So she said, oh, you can demo whenever you want. So I said, all right, it was a Tuesday when she called, and Wednesday next day in the afternoon, I went into the Schaumburg Whole Foods because they had a big display, and I was demoing, and I saw this lady. She was talking to somebody in the grocery department, and I said, "Hey," I kept on bothering this lady, and she's like, "Who are you? Why are you so persistent?" It's just how I am. And she's like, "I like it. I like your attitude, right?" And she's like, well, I'm the founder and CEO of Mama Chia. Do you want to work for us? Nice. And so the universe or the world, I don't know what we want to call that stuff, but that day, like, just, oh yeah, I worked for them. And so I started doing demos for them a couple months later, and like once my contract or once my time with the old company left, and I got an opportunity to like grow and develop into like actually merchandise and like handle sit-door sales and all that stuff, and develop in the industry that way. And yeah, Mama Chia was really cool to like, but yeah, that store without that moment, without that like space, it would have never been a thing. So it was like, that's like just luck. Just luck that it stayed there. I mean, I would have stayed in the industry, but I don't think I would have the opportunity.
Nice. So is that why you maybe sought out Whole Foods for your product and stuff?
Because I just knew them, right? So then after working for Mama Chia, I worked for another company, and I managed about a dozen brands of beverages and snacks and whatnot. And we just did a lot of business with Whole Foods, and it's still like at the forefront of innovation, right? So that's where like a lot of the industry is like, where the innovation is happening in the industry is happening at Whole Foods. And I knew that Sparkling Unsweetened Tea was innovation, and I had a good relationship with the buyer in the stores, and they all know me, and put up with me. And when I told them, hey, I'm doing this, they said, yeah, we're interested. That makes sense. And when I manufactured it, I emailed them, and we met with them a couple of days later, and they said, yeah, you're in. And so that was in November, and then November last year, and then April we got in finally after some hurdles, but it was good. Yeah, it's a good place to be.
I had a funny little situation. So when I bought some of the BESTeas at Whole Foods, Naperville here, I was in there, I was purchasing the cans and stuff. So I was asking the cashier, have you ever tried these? She's like, she's thinking I'm asking her a question about like, of whether I'm going to enjoy this or not. She's like, no, I haven't tried that brand in particular and stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, it's really good. You should try it. And I'm like,
you were selling her.
I was selling her.
Over. Yeah.
That's so funny.
This spirit influence thing. Yeah. It's cool to have people like pushing and helping. Like, yeah, it's weird, but yeah, it's cool to have that. Sometimes people don't have the best things to say, which is okay. There's a lot of people in this world, and, some people drink a lot of sugar, and so they're used to, their taste buds are used to a lot of other stuff. But yeah, sometimes people don't have the best things, but sometimes people, oh, I love it. And it's like, oh, okay, like, here, hug me or whatever. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good 0-calorie beverage. So
yeah, just trying to.
It's not the same as you're not gonna have like a sugar rush or anything with it, but.
Yeah, we're trying to, I mean, so after I had the idea, I saw the opportunity. I realized, like, I did some research, and I realized how, like, much sugar is in beverage. And so the American diet is, like, just bad right now.
Diabetic, yes.
Yeah, people are drinking too much sugar, more or less. People are consuming too much sugar, but the sugar in beverage, the single largest source of added sugar is coming from
beverages, yeah.
And why is that? Because they're everywhere, they're readily available, they're cheap. It's really a big system that like needs to be changed. And so when I looked into that, and I said, well, I kind of knew that, but like when I looked at the technicals, like the data and all that, and all these CDC reports saying like we need to stop drinking sugar, and people so that kind of like put in my head like this absolutely needs to happen, and so I made it.
Then there's the other side of it where we don't want any more sweeteners and artificial, because those have their own issues.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you're sweet enough is what you're trying to say. Yeah, that's the other, like, I think the cool thing about this is like tea is a really like, there's so many different types of teas and you can do so much with it, and you can, especially if it's carbonated or eventually non-carbonated, you can really have a lot of flavor in a beverage just from tea, and like you have all the health benefits of it, and it's like, wait, why doesn't somebody else think of this before me? But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to like try to push what's possible on unsweetened beverages and try to make them delicious and cool.
Do you have any competitors, or is it right now you're the only sort of sparkling tea out
there's
there?
a couple of small companies out there that are doing the same thing.
Okay.
But it's like this is competition. This is we all compete all the time. We all fight all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of in our blood, so it's like pound shake, let's go. I'm not worried about it. You know, I know what my best looks like, and I know I have a very clear vision on what I want to do with this and to make this. So, that's how I see it, and I'm not worried about anybody else's thoughts on things.
All right. So, yeah, you're not competing against, LaCroix. I just realized how that's pronounced. So it's not
you can call it whatever you want, man.
It's not L.A. Croix.
L.A. Croix, if that's what you're saying.
No, I wasn't.
Actually, I kind of want you to, like, I like that.
L.A. Croix.
Love L.A. Croix.
Yeah, L.A. Croix. It's not a competition, right? My biggest thing is getting rid of sugar out of beverage. And so I have no problem. Like, it's great, right? I consume it. I buy it. Like, I don't have any problems with them. We're not competing with that. It's just a completely different thing. It's not completely different. It's a similar space. Ultimately, people are going towards sparkling water or products like BESTeas because people are going away from pop so much, right? Pop or soda or what you want to call it. We have that debate. But that's really all I care about. So,
So is it sparkling tea or carbonated tea?
Ooh.
I don't know.
That's the new debate.
Really? Is that a debate? I think that it's both.
It's now.
It is now.
It's like, it's just sparkling. It's carbonated water, though.
Carbonated water or sparkling tea?
It's chicken. I don't know, man. That's a good question. I'm not going to spend any time thinking about that. It's both.
But our audience will.
Yeah?
I'm going to stay up at night.
Debating.
Which one is
just
it?
constantly commenting on our Instagram. Is it sparkling tea or is it carbonated tea, dude? I'm like,
You just have to block us eventually. Which I can't deal with these people.
We appreciate the support. It's really, support comes in all different frames and ways, so.
Well, let's get this discussion out there for advertisement.
What do you think? Let us know.
Carbonated tea.
Fight for it.
The important word is unsweetened. That's the one that I care about. Carbonated sparkling tea really doesn't
Carbonated.
Carbonated unsweetened tea is like a carbonated sparkling tea. Carbonated unsweetened tea just doesn't really have this ring to it. Sparkling unsweetened tea just kind of
sounds
a little bit better. I don't know.
It sounds sparkly.
Yeah, a little better. Yeah.
So you've dropped some fairy dust on it.
Yeah, we did.
Exactly.
Yeah. No official fairy dust just yet. One day.
How many flavors do you have right now?
So right now we have 3. We have black tea with lemon, green tea with pomegranate, and hibiscus with lime. Those are the 3. So 2 of them are caffeinated. Hibiscus is uncaffeinated. It's an herbal tea. So there's 3 very different flavors on the products. So,
are you guys thinking about getting more flavors eventually?
Yeah, definitely working on that. So I'm very fortunate to have a best friend who's a food scientist. So we do all the research and development in house, and so that's pretty cool to do. To figure out how to manufacture a beverage and because not a lot of companies do that. A lot of people are afraid to make something like that because they think inherently that it's impossible or that they couldn't do it. But actually having a real food scientist to kind of lead the way was really helpful and awesome. So I can say, this is what I want it to taste like. This is the ingredients, and then we just have some parameters that we have to work with. And but yeah, we have a couple in the pipe. Just gotta grow to the space where we can make them and get them out there.
Nice. So a lot of our guests in the past have talked about how jiu-jitsu has helped them in other aspects of their life. So as a business owner, how has jiu-jitsu helped you with that?
It's like everything. So, this is going way back, right? But when I was 21, I came into jiu-jitsu. Like, I was kind of lost. I had dropped out of school twice, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I just started doing jiu-jitsu, and I started getting the success, and nothing crazy or anything, but I started seeing progress with it, and I started getting a little more confident in myself. And I got my blue belt in about 9 months, and yeah, that was cool. And then I rolled the first, so we got on Saturday. I was sick on that Saturday. Prito pranked me, got me good. He had my ex-girlfriend at the gym, and he was he gave everybody else their belts first and lined everybody up to all right, it's over with. And then, he's like, oh, by the way, we forgot one. Cause this is what happens when you bring your girlfriend around. And then, He gave it to me and he got me good there.
He likes to prank people.
Yeah, he pranked me good. And then I was also sick, so like everybody else is like all the blue belts at the time because there's no purple besides Chris Garcia. They're all, oh man, what the heck? Like you should be like you're the kicking everybody's butt or whatever. And I got it after that. Like I was like, oh gosh, I was sick and just like, why did I come here? And I brought like this is so awful. And then he, oh, here you go. Here's your belt. And I got it. And then I rolled that next Monday. The first roll was a blue belt. I broke my jaw. So it was the second time in my life I broke my jaw. And I had just gotten all this success, right?
Yeah.
I started getting some real momentum in my life. After just packing boxes, I finally found something, found a great environment. There's a lot of good guys there, a lot of older guys that kind of like would mentor me, take me under their wing. And I had to like make this decision. Well, I just broke my face, literally. And, do I want to stay and like keep on pushing and doing jiu-jitsu and just, doing whatever? Or should I kind of like take a break from this and, go back to school? And kind of that philosophy of, like, if you want, like, you're playing close guard. If you just stay really tight, right? If you just stay really tight and hold on to what you have, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to open your guard up to actually get any attacks, right? I kind of took that philosophy and put it into my life. And I said, well, all right, I know I don't want to pack boxes anymore. This is pretty miserable. There's no air conditioning in this place. It's 95 degrees. I'm sweating like crazy, making $13 an hour. And I don't know what I want to do with myself. I knew that if I got a degree in physics, I kind of would be like, see the world a little differently and maybe probably wouldn't end up being a physicist, but I would maybe have a different perspective on the world. So that risk taking, right? Like it's calculated risk when you do these things, right? When you open your guard up, you have to do something. You can't just sit there and just wait. Cause if you just wait, eventually that person's going to say, all right, I'm going to smash your hips and I'm going to pass your guard and then have fun with that. So, I took that philosophy and I did that. And I went back to school, and then I kept on growing and did the school stuff and got into the food and beverage world. And eventually when I saw this opportunity, is take that same philosophy of, I need to do this. Like, I know what my technique is, right? Like, I've kind of like, think about Damon Maya, right? He was excellent at jiu-jitsu before he went into MMA. And I felt, I mean, it wasn't, we'll say however you want to say about how I was as a salesperson and understood distribution and all that stuff. But I understood that side of things, right? I knew what that world was like. I just knew adding a little bit more, producing it myself, and making the beverage myself would be a little bit more of the risk. But like, for him, it wasn't crazy, right? Like, oh, I'm already elite at this one thing. I just need to apply all those skills I have to this other realm. And so I kind of took that philosophy again and said, all right, I need to take this calculated risk. I wasn't afraid, right? Everybody kind of, at 21, 22, I like cut down my life and like rebooted and redid this thing. And at 30, I said, well, I have to do this. Like, this is a massive opportunity. And that confidence of, okay, just like jiu-jitsu, right? Like, so in jiu-jitsu, you don't do brand new things, right? You're not doing these brand new techniques when you're trying to do something. I mean, I do pretty much the same thing to everybody repeatedly, right? And so that kind of is the same thing, right? Like I've already have this background. I already have these techniques or whatever, like philosophies in business that I already know how this distribution stuff works. Like, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's just a different product this time. And then, when I go out there, it's just, all right, cool. Like, I've done this before. I've helped grow other brands before. I've gotten other brands onto Whole Foods' shelf. I've gotten them into Costco. I've gotten into other stuff, all these cool places. What's different now, right? And so it's just that confidence. Okay, I do have this ability. I've done this before. It's not rocket science. And hopefully you have the right product and people like it and buy it and consume it. That's the only real risk that was there, right? Do I make it? Can you make it good? Can you figure out the science behind that? Sometimes there's some little tricks, little things that may go wrong or whatever, but you kind of just have that same philosophy. Okay, I'm going on the mats today. I'm just going to do my thing and I'm going to do it well, and nobody can stop me when I do it. I'm not going to start playing, inverted guard or rubber guard or whatever. It's not the philosophy. It's just do your thing, do your techniques well, and the world will, like, it'll work out. So that's how Jiu-Jitsu's been great for that, for just giving me a lot of confidence, and yeah, it's just great.
And you probably use it like as stress relief and all of that.
Yeah, this summer, oh man. I mean, stress relief, that and running. Those are the two main things, right? It's a good place to just get away. You can't go on those mats and carry anything in your head. One day I had like a real bad day, and this is before we actually launched, and I just rolled with Ramiro, and I never really had like any success against Ramiro, but I was like, just that day I needed I was just like, this is not a good day. This is 10 out of 10 bad. And I went on the mats and I was just put it on him. Like, I'm not trying to say, I beat up my instructor or anything, but I was like, what is this, right? Like, I just needed it that day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really helpful, right? And then you're constantly growing, right? Like, it's constant growth mindset. You're constantly like doing better techniques, learning different parts of your game, adding to this. So you can't stagnate. Yeah, it's just a good thing to like have besides just, I sell beverages and
That's it.
go crazy. Yeah, because eventually your body's like, I'm not taking care of myself. And so when I'm taking care of myself, when I'm like, that's kind of the other thing, right? I have this philosophy on the cans that says we want you to be the best version of yourself, right? With our perfectly bubbly tea. I think that idea of people being the best version of themselves is like a really powerful thing and something that you can really strive for. And I think jiu-jitsu is the perfect way to do that, right? It's the perfect way for me to do that for my everyday life. But, it's good. It's really, I don't know what else I would do. Like this summer, I don't know if I would have gotten through it, right? Or even before we first launched, man, I didn't know, we didn't hear back from the manufacturer of when we're going to get launched or anything. And I just had to go to the gym and like take care of, like just go and like train. Cause like my left eye was like literally twitching because of the stress. And I was just like, all right, it was the perfect outlet to like just let go and to just get beat up for a good, 55 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's amazing how good you feel after just like getting beat up or like beating people up or just like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Maybe that's something wrong with us. We shouldn't be. I love beating people up, but it's a thing, I guess. Yeah,
it is.
Oh, she's still sick.
We have Kat in the studio now. He never comes in here when Stephanie's here, my girlfriend. Like, he will not knock, he won't anything. He keeps distance. Maybe she's evil and he senses it. Right? Is that what it is? Is Kyle a nice person? Is Jessica a nice person? We got 2 people here and you're not afraid.
Wow. I think she's just evil.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steph.
Can't speak, I'm hopefully not evil. Yeah.
Unless you 2 are evil and he's also evil.
You're the
we're not going to talk about that.
I mean, you're evil and we're the good ones, and then she's good, and
whoa,
all 3 of us would be evil in that case, and then she'd be good. But that can't be right. Maybe it's just Steph that's evil.
I think let's just go with that. That's simple.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
You hear that?
Now you actually know if she listens to these. She'll be like, so we gave you a great shout out. She's like, yeah, I heard it. You guys are the best. Oh, really?
Yeah, I know she listened to at least the first 4 for sure. Maybe the 5th, and I don't think she's heard the 6th one yet.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got a cat here.
Tough to focus. There we go. Okay. Good fangs you got. Holy cow.
Yeah, whoa.
Oh, man, holy cow. You are the evil one.
Yep.
Dracula looking, man.
Oh my gosh.
He just puked, so he has horrible breath.
Same.
Those fangs. Those teeth are so crazy.
Yeah, those are hardcore.
Do all cats have those?
Not to that level, man. This is Dracula.
Some have even bigger fangs, though. But wow, he's never that friendly. He usually just bites people.
Come on, bro. I want to get bit by that. It's cool.
He's the cat whisperer.
Wow, Kyle. So Steph would be so jealous of you right now. She's just been trying to get the cat to love her, but he always runs away. He doesn't knock. He doesn't want to get in.
Yeah, that's the thing with cats. It's just like don't give them attention, and then they'll kind of and also bring things with other cats smell on it, and then they'll be a little more interested.
But hers always does because she has a cat.
Oh.
So this is what
He just hates
her,
I guess.
yeah. And she's very upset by it. Wow. He loves Kyle.
Yeah.
I've never seen him be so friendly with anyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, Kyle.
I'm honored.
Sounds like you two are besties.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
wow, there you go.
Sometimes people don't get the name and they're just like,
Really?
yeah. Then they finally realize, and it's pretty funny. They're like, oh, BESTeas. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about, BESTeas? And they read the canon. It's all good. We're gonna do it. Let's go.
This is crazy.
This is insanity. This cat does not love anyone, hates most people, and Kyle is just like...
What about you?
He'll bite me even, but he'll always want to jump on my lap and purr, but he'll bite too. But he usually hisses at anyone he doesn't recognize. Kyle, you have some abilities.
I don't know, man. We had a cat who's 22. We passed away last year, but yeah, the cat was 22.
Wow,
Got
That's
on.
pretty old.
I was like, you are never gonna die, are you? But he finally passed away. So, it's probably not the best thing to say, but he was barely hanging on there.
That's crazy. How old do cats usually live till?
15.
15 is what's considered, but they I see a lot going to 18 and stuff.
Yeah.
So 22.
He was powerhouse.
That's crazy.
This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, he's about to bite me, but Kyle, no.
No, it's not like
friendly.
he keeps on trying to
gonna
leave
go
and then
on
not
with it.
leaving too, so it's making this real awkward.
Yeah.
The cat is, I don't know, I've got a presence to myself, I guess.
It's
The
like,
cat can
I
really
like
recognize
him,
it.
but I don't want to. It's like my cold heart. You can't accept it.
Warmth that Kyle's.
I don't
Kyle's
find
presence.
have warmth. Yeah, you could ask the people on my gym, how warm is Kyle? It's probably not that. It's more loud and obnoxious and just jokey, but yeah. I guess the cat
But your
brings out
aura.
the warmth. The aura, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing. I don't know. That's a weird thing, but you kind of feel it, right? In jiu-jitsu, you can kind of tell, like, when somebody's like, oh, that person's going to be good. Like, or that person's like a wrestler or whatever. You can kind of just tell the way they carry themselves.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It kind of crosses over into other spectrums of life. I realized, like, food trade shows, you can kind of tell either from a buyer perspective or another entrepreneur, like that person really understands this and carries themselves in this weird way. But I remember Comprito when I first started, like, he thought that was going to do something. Like, he thought it was going to be good. And, I don't know. He just remember telling other people, like, this kid's going to be good at fighting. And then, like, training with Dan, like, you could just tell that guy is just like,
Warwick?
yeah, you're like, he's just a little different. Like, there's just something off about, not off in a bad way.
Off about him. He's,
No,
he's in the movie bin.
But yeah, like,
Jessica.
I haven't really rolled with you.
I don't think so.
Whoa.
That's so crazy.
That is crazy.
We've been training in the same stuff since I don't know, 2010 or so. I don't know when you started, but
2010.
when I came back, as I remember when you guys were there, and your dad rolling with him.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, the cat is literally burrowing into my coat. I thought we were gonna have a real moment. This should have been a video podcast.
Yeah.
How ridiculous that was going on there. Literally just like a cave for him.
Oh my gosh.
I am just amazed. This is insanity to me. He still doesn't want to leave. We'll wait till he knocks. He'll start grabbing the door handle when he wants to leave.
Smarter than me.
We've rolled once at the Braza training.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Once.
I think once, yeah. You just asked me afterwards. I was like, for sure, let's go. I was there. I don't know if you were there. We came in like March or April of last year.
Before the Chicago Open.
I think so, yeah. And I don't think we got to roll with each other, but yeah. Like even, like those wrestler kids from U of I. Like I saw, like it wasn't me. So the kid I train with a lot is his name's Nick Hernandez, and I think he's got one of that kind of aura thing or whatever, right? Like you think this kid's gonna be really a monster. And I remember I think he was rolling with Jesse and like had like a monster, like just they were rolling for like 6 minutes. It was King of the Hill or whatever. So until somebody scores a point or whatever, they get out. But nothing was happening. But I remember the Giuseppe guy, he was just letting people pass. He was letting people pass because he wanted to roll directly with Nick. And I was like, oh man, that is going to be insane. But like, it's just kind of like, you can kind of just tell at a certain level, people are like, oh, we are going to, like, I want to fight that guy. And it's crazy. It's awesome though. But yeah, I want to be, I like that. I like that
the Giuseppe guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know his name is Giuseppe and he's a guy. But yeah, like, I remember him walking back and forth, like ready to go. And there's nothing, that's cool. Like, I like that.
He's good. He's very good. Yeah. His name is Meowzadon.
Meowzadon?
Seriously?
Yeah.
My cat's name is Ben. That's about as good as I can go with names. Cat, at least.
Yeah.
You look pissed at me. Kyle, why don't you pet him? He won't bite.
Come here, man.
He'll bite me. Look at that. Angry.
He'll bite you? Come on.
Let's see it. Let's see him bite you.
No, I'm good.
See if I can pick him up.
That'll be insane if you can pick him up.
Oh.
Wow. What is this? Who are you?
He's gonna steal your cat.
I don't want nobody else's cat, but I just know how to treat people. I don't know. I've had cats my whole life. You just gotta know how to pick them up and whatever.
He's probably actually an angel.
Yeah, definitely not. No.
He's got a halo on his head. Maybe he's a demon and the cat's a demon.
There we go.
Maybe.
That also be a thing.
I think we nailed it there.
So for like people that are trying to start their own business, or they want to start kind of doing something similar to you, what advice would you give them?
Get experience in the industry that you're looking to do something in, right? Kind of like going back to what I was talking about before. Damian Maia didn't just start saying, I'm going to fight MMA.
Yeah.
He trained extensively in Jiu-Jitsu and then was able to transition over to a little bit more, right?
Like
you don't
I think
just...
some people, like, they're like, I'm going to fight MMA. And then they just fight, they like train MMA. But it's like, no, you have to get experience and either become like a really good boxer or a really good jiu-jitsu fighter and then start learning everything.
Yeah, learn as much as you can, right? It's the same thing with jiu-jitsu, right? You just learn these techniques, you try these things, you figure out what your game is, and you figure out who you are as a business person, as a jiu-jitsu fighter, and then you keep on refining that, and then eventually you say, all right, that makes sense, or whatever. But to just go into a blind, that's, whoa, like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go into MMA fight, blind. Like, there are people that do that, and they are insane. I mean, there's a certain level of insanity, like craziness, just to like even competing, like you kind of like, there's something just a little, that's not saying you're crazy or anything, but it's a little different. Like there's a different part of your mind that's not the everyday person.
Right.
And so for just starting a business, like you have to be crazy enough, but then like to do it without any experiences. That's not scary. Like it's scary enough when you do have a lot of experience. When you don't, that's asking for bad news or whatever, man. I wouldn't ask somebody, I wouldn't say, hey, you should go fight MMA without any real training. And I wouldn't say, hey, you should start a business without any real experience. You really need to know what you're trying to do beforehand. You need to have a really good idea, really clear vision, and really clear understanding how things work before you go off and either on the mats or on your own business wise. Because I mean, the last 18 months have been tough, but it's not like out of control tough, right? It's just like you endure and you figure things out. But there's always going to be obstacles, right? Like even when you fight, right? You fight, sometimes maybe you're going to get mounted, and the last thing you do is freak out. But if you haven't been mounted before, that's the only thing you would do is freak out. And so, it's this kind of, you have to really know what the heck you're doing beforehand and have a real understanding. Otherwise, it's your life, and things can get real weird. Yeah, it's not healthy.
So going back to Whole Foods, how did you get into Whole Foods exactly?
So I had been laying the groundwork a bit with my old job. We would have relationships with the buyers, and about a year before I actually launched, I saw them in California, and I saw the buyers and the regional buyers, and I said, hey, like, I'm working on it. I think this is the thing, right? And I'm going to try to do it. Like, what do you guys think? And like, is this something you guys would be interested in? So I'd already set the foundation. They're aware of me, and they and I had spoken to them about it. And then, I let them know that I was leaving my company. I was leaving in the summer. And I was, pursuing this thing further. And so when I finally did get it manufactured, we got manufactured on Halloween last year. A couple days later, I finally reached out to the buyer, the regional buyer, and I said, hey, like, things are finally made. Let's talk. And so that was on Wednesday afternoon at like 4:00, and he emailed me back 5 minutes later. He's like, yeah, I'll come in on Friday. And so that's very rare. I'm really fortunate to have the relationships that I do with the people that I do. And, he said, yeah, come in. And then we talked about it, and he tried it, and he did not hate it, which is a great thing. You take that risk, you take that jump, and sometimes things can fall flat on their face, and you could be failing real quick. But he liked it. He understood what I was talking about when I talked about my vision for this thing, and he said yeah. And so we got in, and then we're in. And then a couple months later, we had to go through some we had to take pictures of this stuff or whatever, and it was a brand new company that did all that, so that got a little delayed. It was supposed to be launched in January, but finally came through in April. And yeah, we launched in April, and we're all the stores, and just growing the sales, putting it on sale, making sure that, and trying to do our best to get people interested in it, and it's kind of growing.
Nice.
Cool.
So obviously you're doing a lot, like you're very busy, you're training and working, how do you balance it all? Like, how do you still take care of your body and your mind?
So the mind thing, I guess, no, they go hand in hand. I think this summer I was really training a lot. I was training a whole bunch, really, and getting better, but I wasn't taking care of myself, and I pinched a nerve in my neck, and I kind of realized I had to take a step back. I couldn't just use this sport as as an outlet to relieve stress or whatever. So I pinched the nerve, and I couldn't feel my fingers, my index and my middle finger, for a month. And I realized, that's not healthy. So it took off time, and I just came back from Austin, and I saw the way that everybody treats themselves. And so now I kind of realized, in Austin, it's the epicenter. You want to?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So Austin's the epicenter of wellness. People really take care of themselves. They're doing yoga. There's so many, it's great out. The weather is incredible there. And people eat well, and people are outside running in these trails all the time, and it's really awesome. And to see how people treat themselves there, and then realizing I'm trying to inspire other people to be the best version of themselves, and then not actually living that myself, I kind of realized, I have to come back to Chicago, and I need to be about what I'm trying to push to the world, right? I think, of course, I feel like I do a good job of eating well, but in terms of taking care of my mind and my body, I was probably not, things are maybe a mess. And so, I'm really working on that now to really come back, and I've been back now, and I've been going to therapy for the pulled muscle / pinched nerve in my neck, and going to yoga, and just really trying to take care of myself, and foam rolling, because I'm it turns out my calves were super tight, and I had plantar fasciitis, so I would go running, and my feet were just felt like they're tearing apart. Wow. So when I went to that, she's yeah, your calves are ridiculously tight, dude. This is why your body's falling apart, because I wasn't taking care of these things. So that's really my focus, because it takes a lot to get sometimes to the level of sharpness that you want, right? Your techniques are sharp, right? But for business, sometimes it's not like that every day, right? You're just kind of what do I do next? There's so much noise. What do you focus on? And so for me, I just really need to be sharp. So taking care of myself is, I do jiu-jitsu, I do running now, and I'm trying to feel like I'm treating my body well. And I recently just went vegan as well for the last week, which is kind of cool. I've been vegetarian for about 3.5 years, but trying to, eat even better and to really take care of all that. But it's a struggle, man. It's real easy to, I forgot lunch, and I forgot breakfast, or I forgot lunch, and I just drank a bunch of coffee, and then all of a sudden you're 3 days in a row of that, and you're like, I'm completely out of energy. So yeah, it's kind of taking a step back, realizing, while I can be really tough and use jiu-jitsu as therapy or whatever, a stress relief, I also need to maintain everything. I need to maintain, have a real balance to myself. So it's kind of been a cool thing to reinvent that, right? To go ahead and to to make sure that every day I'm sharp and every day I'm organized and every day I'm going off and doing the things I need to do to make this a success. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's not something you could take for granted because especially starting your own thing, like there's no schedule. There's nobody telling me what. Like I can easily work 80 hours a week and just not have any balance or anything, and that's not healthy. So I don't want that. But you have to really, really be disciplined on that.
Yeah, and then even the stress relief, which is jiu-jitsu, it's like that in itself is such a demanding thing mentally and physically. So it's like,
and then if you're injuring yourself and like hurting your neck or whatever, the best thing, it's not good.
It is hard to balance because when you do jiu-jitsu, then you want to do jiu-jitsu competitively, then it's even more because then it becomes another task. Like right now, my shoulder, can you see it? It's jutting outwards.
Yeah, dislocated or whatever.
Yeah,
or
it's separated.
Yeah.
So that's put me out, and like having all these other pains, then that means I have to do more rehab. I have to be careful of my stretching. Like right now, it's just sitting here for this long. My hips are locking up.
Yeah.
My back is like scrunched. That's why I postured up, and that's why I did those little hand actions to make sure my shoulder is sitting in place and stuff. And all of that can be. No, those are things we have to become aware of because of training. And the training is to kind of,
make everything easier.
Make like, everything better. So it's like the
circle.
Ouroboros.
I agree. We should quit doing jiu-jitsu. It's no good for us. It's tearing us apart as human beings. No, I'm kidding.
Cause then I had other issues. Like my knees were bad before jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu healed up my knees. I had like, immobile knees, and then I wasn't doing cardio and stuff because I didn't want to put impact on my knees and stuff. So it was like
it helped that, but
but it caused its own problems. And my hands feel always weak because they're always messed up.
Well, you play all that spider guard stuff. Yeah. That's why, man. It's crazy. For me, it's just balance right now. Like I kind of realized, right, I don't have that path of doing competitive jiu-jitsu. People give me a hard time. Well, you're whatever. Why aren't you off competing? I'm like, man, like. I got nothing to prove. Like, I'm not like, I've felt Dan, like, I know I'm not on that level, right? Like, I feel we're similar athletically, but like, I can see, like, understands technique better than me, right? Like, it's just, you understand where you are on the totem pole and stuff. But I can also use it for, to help others, right? Like, if I understand this thing and this kid is going to be good one day, like, how about I just give him my everything, right? I give him how I, like, my philosophy of jiu-jitsu and try to teach him as much as I can. So, I mean, it's just, jiu-jitsu can be a lot for everybody, right? And also, I mean, I have a big running background. I ran in high school and I was a big runner nerd in high school.
Oh, okay.
And that's a big thing, right? Your cardiovascular endurance, like you can use that to, I mean, if you can put a pace on somebody else and then they leave, like they can only handle it for so long before they want out, and then
like everyone can go hard for like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
but can they go hard for 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
When you're putting that pace on people, but like so running really, if you really understand, if you're really a good distance runner, like you don't get tired from this stuff. Like if I'm going aerobic and everybody else is anaerobic, that like I'm going to win 90% of the time just because I'm probably not going to freak out because they're, unless they're smashing me and just absolutely destroying you in the first 2 minutes, eventually they're going to stop that. And then eventually, I'm still there and they're gone. And, it's that, but like trying to teach that to other people, right? Like if I understand how I use running to make myself good at jiu-jitsu, like how can I maybe teach other people to like, run with me, right? And do all that. So that's all balance, right? It's kind of what makes you the best version of yourself, right? And that's where I'm at.
I've also seen the other way around where jiu-jitsu technique, because people that have like certain backgrounds, like marathon running and stuff, because they don't have technique, they still get tired because they the human body just wants to go like and go all out, and they don't realize how tired they can get from exerting these muscles they've never used.
I remember the first time, man. I remember driving back to my house the first like week of doing jiu-jitsu, and just my forearms were so on fire. I've never felt so much pain in my life. I thought like, what is this sport? But that was me that first couple of weeks, man. I was just like, what did I do to my forearms? Like really, they were so seized up, and like, it was awesome.
Nerves and gripping and being unfamiliar. You want to grip as hard as you want.
Never let go, even if you should.
That was a different feeling for sure.
Yeah.
Hello, We just wanted to inform you that you have an extreme case of body odor. We recommend that you use Ranked Soap by Ranked Soap Company to clean yourselves up. It'll do you justice. So I had no idea you were a vegetarian all this time, and now
I didn't have it tattooed on my forehead. Yeah, so I competed at the Chicago Open about 3 years ago.
If you lift your hat, we might be able to see the tattoo.
Yeah, no, there's nothing there. So I competed at the Chicago Open 3 years ago, and this was it kind of was two things, right? I wanted to lose a little bit of weight. I was going to fight at 194, and I think I was like 195 without the gi and just like regular. And so I needed to lose maybe 5 pounds or whatever. And also I am a big fan of my dog, Tulip. If you're listening, Tulip, she's a French and English bulldog. She's wonderful. She's the light of my life. There was in the news, there was the dog festival in China.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was like, if there's outrage on this, right? And I love my dog. How can I justify eating cows or whatever if in other countries and other cultures they love cows, right? And so it kind of was like, well, that doesn't really make much sense to me. And so I just stopped, and it's not been that hard. Yeah, like I don't crave it. And then I'm also in the natural food space, so I constantly I'm trying new weird stuff. I mean, the Beyond Meat burger, there's the Impossible Burger that just came out. They're going to be making their own packaged stuff soon here. And just trying weird new foods, and it's not that hard. I mean, how do you get your protein? I'm like, man, I'm in pretty good shape, and I'm doing all right. I don't know. Just eat beans, man. Rice is pretty cool too. I don't know. It's all good sources. Chickpeas.
Do you feel better physically?
I feel better than. Oh, I thought you meant better than everybody else because I don't eat.
No.
I'm joking. That's a joke. I have felt. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I think your diet really does have a real big impact on how you feel. We used to have. I mean, this is not exactly that, but this is going back to the BESTeas stuff. I used to get samples of one of our old brands. It was another tea company, but it had maybe 16 grams of sugar per serving. And I remember slamming 2 or 3 of those in a day, and that was 50 grams of sugar. And then just feeling, I'm craving sugar, this, and all of a sudden I'm feeling lethargic and all that. And I was just like, this is not good for me. And, I really, don't do that anymore. I'm real active. Obviously, I have to be an advocate for unsweetened beverages as much as possible. So I'm always looking at what's out there, but I'm not buying drinks that have sugar in them anymore. But yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Not eating, certain things does make you feel a little differently. But I don't really feel too I feel so much better. It's just kind of like a peace of mind thing, right? That's who I want to be, and that's how I want to live.
And actually, I have a lot of respect and admiration for vegetarians and vegans personally, especially if they're doing it for the animals, because like you said, that doesn't compute well with me. It's okay, we're judging people for eating cats and dogs, but we keep them as pets, but we eat meat, which the meat industry, we don't know how they're slaughtering these animals. They could be horrible. It could be horrible conditions. And it is.
I think also you can't really ethically kill anything. It's kind of I put you down nicely. It's not. It's a very
true.
It's pretty. That's. I don't understand. I choked you. I mean, I choked you kindly. I choked. It's kind of a violent act. We have to live with the fact that it's a violent thing.
It is, but it's obviously a lot worse if it was horrible conditions the entire time through and then a horrible death.
Yeah, you want them to have humane life, treated humanely. It's a cool thing. Animal welfare is a thing that should be pushed more. But.
For sure. So I do I respect that a lot because I eat meat and I look at that, I'm vegans have this right. They are the ones that are doing good for the world because for many reasons, environmental and animal welfare, rights and everything. It is the right thing to do. And so I mean, for me, I justify, I'm all right, I eat meat because, circle of life, animals that eat meat. They have to kill something to eat it. But as I see it, I'm humans can opt out of that, though. We have a choice, and we
have a lot of options. Yeah, we have massive food centers, and if you just want to have a Dorito diet, you can do that too. But,
so
it's a tough thing.
So it really is just a matter of habit and taste, and so I always say vegans are right. Like
there's also the snobbery of it, right? I mean, I don't try to. I mean, I don't want to be, oh, you eat meat. I mean, I sometimes will get on my friends about it a little bit, but it's kind of like you're not going to influence anybody by being an ass. That's not how it works. You can't just say, oh, what's wrong with you? Then you polarize people. And
But actually, what bothers me more than like vegans pushing it on people actually doesn't really bother me.
Oh, the anti stuff.
The anti stuff does, like.
But it's a result of the, like, it's just polarization. It's kind of.
Wait, what's the anti-stuff?
The anti-stuff, like, you'll see people, like, if you ever read comments on social media.
I love
like,
like, I love.
But, you'll see, like, maybe say something about, this is why I went vegan or whatever, like, these animals are, like, so-and-so. And someone will post a picture of, like, steak or something just to spite them, and that's just so horrible because
have you learned, don't look at the internet comments?
It's just like, if it works for you, then that's great. If that doesn't work for you, then you don't have to say anything.
See, I find that like equivalent to like you also see like for some people like will post like a rabbit as a pet, and people will be like, oh, this isn't a pet, this is my food here, blah blah blah, and it's like, that's that person's pet, you know.
Right.
They can like it, man. It's cool. Whatever.
Like, why
just
do you
let people be?
This is what bothers me about people is like they will just to be like spiteful. They will post those things that are, you know, anti-vegan or whatever. And I think that is the problem, not vegans. And it doesn't bother me that vegans push it on. You'll see people saying, it's a disagreement. Well, it's really not a disagreement. It is, pushing it is a matter of pushing it for animals. It's not a matter of disagreeing with someone. It's a matter of, saving a life that they care about, you know? So I don't see it as a problem to push veganism. Is that?
No, I want to create the, I mean, BESTeas is a drink. So if you're putting, I mean, milk is a thing that people kind of like, but, in drinks, but, if you're putting meat in drinks, I don't really understand what you got going on. That's completely vegan. It's kind of, the analog is unsweetened, right? The sugar problem. But eventually I want to create like, you know, vegan food products too, because, right, if you can create things that are delicious, that are still using ingredients that people like, and it's good, and you can make it accessible and affordable for everybody, like, then you can influence culture, right? Like, I can't go on to every comment on BuzzFeed or YouTube and read all and try to argue with those people. All you can do is try to produce something that's better, right? I think there's going to be an analog. Eventually, you know, I'll be talking about my stuff, and some people will want to troll, right? And they'll say, oh, I love to drink sugar, and they'll probably do the exact same thing. But I can't let it bother me. Like, I don't care. Like, I've been a nerd on the internet since, you know, like 2001, and I've not, like, I know how to deal with people being a doofus online trying to get under your skin.
For sure.
Yes, but it's just kind of, if you can produce things that are better and to like help influence that change and to be a part of that change, like that's the cool stuff. Like to change what the world is, because we need more unsweetened drinks, and we need more good vegan options. Like we need more things that rely less on those systems. And I mean, they're just real big industries, and they're gonna like fight like heck to keep their position in the world.
Right.
We need to like change it though. It's bad.
It will take time. It is going to be one of those things. It's going to be a process till this becomes unfashionable for people to just like hate on vegans and stuff. Because
it's kind of like cigarettes, right? Like, there's like, I don't know. I remember one guy I used to work with. He used to work at Apple, and he was like, yeah, like, smoking cigarettes was so like, he worked at, like, they were like, you just can't do that anymore, right? Like, it's so out of fashion. That's like crazy how to think about how culture, right? Culture changes and shifts and all that. And, I mean, the internet is so influential in all of this now, and things can change so quickly.
Just like maybe 10 years ago, people could still smoke in restaurants. Like, there was still not smoke-free restaurants or there's smoking and non-smoking sections. It's like, that's so weird to me, like right now.
Yeah.
Like to have to think about, oh, is this restaurant have smoking? I don't want to go there, you know, like, but now you don't have to think about that.
Yeah,
so it's like, it's weird. Like
that the government takes a part in that too. And the whole, like, it's all like a big old system. It's kind of cool
good.
to watch.
It's really good.
You ever been? Yeah, when I was younger, we go to bowling alleys and stuff, and it was just like smoke.
Oh yeah,
just the entire thing smelled like smoke.
Yeah, I remembered when I was trying to decide where to eat with like my cousins and my aunt and uncle. Like one time, it would just took us like an hour because they would just go into like different restaurants and then see if it was like even you were able to like sit down and not like cough because it's non-smoking. Smoke goes into the different sections.
Yeah. Wait, what? No, I'm joking.
Like, really? So it's like, that's crazy that, you know, you don't have to do that now.
Right.
It's awesome.
It is.
But yeah, the tobacco industry had their own, like, they had their influence on, I mean, they have lobbyists, they have money, they have all this stuff, so they have all this influence, so they want to hold on to that for their dear life, and they'll do whatever they can. They'll influence. I mean, this has happened in both the tobacco and the pharmaceutical and like the beverage industry. They influence science, and then if they can't influence, like if people start understanding that sugar isn't what we should be drinking anymore, like people learn this, right? So the pot sales have declined over the past 15, 20 years. They learn that, but they still want to hold on to it. So they start influencing what's going on in politics. And so, like, I mean, Chicago last year, they had a beverage tax, and then the beverage industry paid probably, I don't know, a whole lot of money, more money than it took me to start my beverage, to run ads, constantly attacking the sugar tax. And then that influences, it's short-term influence, what people wanted, and they repealed it. But, over a long enough timeline, we kind of like, it's like, eventually, it's like, I have my one pass in jiu-jitsu, man. Like, eventually, I'm gonna hit it, you're gonna push on my head and do whatever you want, but eventually, you're gonna get tired, and it's going to happen. And so, these changes are going to happen. We, as a society, as a culture, as a world, we need to, like, do these things. So, it's kind of inevitable. So, it's like, well, you're gonna, maybe you poke me in the eye, or maybe I have to switch up my size or whatever, but I don't care. your hips are getting smashed, and I'm gonna pass you. And then I'm gonna grab your head.
You hear that, Dan? You're getting passed.
Dan? I don't know. I almost got it on one time, and he, like, freaked him out, but eventually he took my back, and I think he actually broke my ribs. So, he did, at least bopped him. He got me good, but yeah, that was one of my favorite roles of all time. He's a bad dude. I have drinks for you in the car, by the way.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
That's awesome. What we'll do is we'll actually kind of want to get a picture with with all the sponsor stuff plus the BESTeas.
Yeah, gotcha.
So what we can do is so right now let's go ahead and we'll have Kyle pick out one of the rain soaps.
Joke's on you guys. I do not shower. No. Oh no.
Is that a vegan thing?
It's out. It's just, no, it's been a while. I don't know. Is there any special things going on here?
Well, so these are the rank soaps. So they're by
that
belts.
One smells really good.
They're orange. All by like belt ranks. You can go ahead and do the sniff test. There's a lot of blue ones here. Some are unmarked. You'll have to check which ones they are.
Care, man. It's all good.
So this one's gray.
The gray belt.
Yeah.
I never had a gray belt.
They're the kids' belts.
I'm into it. Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Thank you, Ranks Soaps. You guys are cool.
So this one's green.
Green. I'm into that. This is good. I will smell good.
You can pick whichever one you want. So there's that blue.
Oh, this is
fruity.
Yep, that one's good. Here comes the train.
Yep. So if you guys aren't aware, we have trains in the background, and we normally pause the podcast for it, but we're at the end now. If you've listened this far, you're not going to stop now. So
I'm amazed. Yeah, thank you. I don't know who's listening to me talk for that long, but I appreciate it, man.
And if they're still listening, well, we're just smelling soaps. You're a true fan.
You are.
We appreciate you.
It's going to be Chris, or
Yeah, Chris. Rich.
Yeah. Then Nicola. What's this? Nick from Highland Park.
Oh,
Dr.
yes,
Nick.
yes.
Yeah. We're giving
Our
Eric Hernandez.
Friends, fans.
We're going to post this on our social media stuff, so I don't know who's going to listen.
We got Josh from Ohio.
Yes. He always shares our stuff.
Yep.
Does not go unnoticed.
It's appreciated. These it's a big thing. The support for when you start something, it's really cool. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I'm not like.
And Sosuedo is.
Yeah, Joshua from Colorado.
Oh.
He used to train at Flow too with us.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
All right, settle on the orange belt.
Orange belt.
I never had the orange belt stuff.
That one smells really good.
It does smell really good.
One.
Yeah.
There's yellows. I don't know if I ran out of yellows. This was kind of a random
yellow
set. There's no
one's really
black,
good.
and I don't think
You have to earn the black. Right?
there's any more brown ones
Not
left
everyone
either.
can shower with black rink soap.
So
You have
Kyle,
to use rink soap for 10 years. until
I'm
you
coming
can
up
use
on
the
10 years for
black.
training, though, so I don't know. But
and we have one of the
So crazy mugs.
oh, heck yeah.
bugs. Yeah.
Thank y'all. This is awesome. Oh,
You get our faces.
I'm very happy about this. I'll put in my coffee in the morning.
Wow.
Just make sure you give my forehead character. You have to give my character a kiss on the forehead before you drink your coffee.
Every day. Yeah. No, I kind of got that.
That was obvious.
I want to kiss the one-eyed pirate man.
I was a pirate for Halloween. That's why my character has the pirate, the badge.
I was a hipster Bears fan for Halloween, and I was hipster Bears fan on the Sunday, like pretty much every Sunday when they play. So I just wore a Bears sweater that I own. It's from like the 80s.
Nice.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming on today. It was awesome talking to you. Can you share your social media pages so that our listeners can follow you and find you on there?
Sure, yeah. So the Instagram page for BESTeas is at We Are BESTeas. So WEARE, and then it's BESTeas, BESTEAS, not IES. It's a pun. It's a play on words. And then my personal Instagram, if you want to see pictures of my dog, and then occasional bruises or whatever I get from jiu-jitsu. Like, right, I have a weird one right here. Like, how does that even happen? Is literally, I have like a bruise for the listeners. It's below my eye. It's like to the right of my nose. It's very strange. It's like
sometimes you just get them and you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah, my personal Instagram is Kai Bunga, KYBUNGA. I used to think that, my name was, I thought they were saying Kyle Bunga in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I would shout that all the time, and so that became my nickname growing up.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's
really self-centered there, but yeah.
They're shouting my name.
Not your name, my name. So yeah.
Kyle Bunga.
So they call me Bunga sometimes. So yeah, Kai Bunga is my Instagram.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cool. First ever
Glad to have you on
podcast
here.
I've ever. And,
Wow, we are honored.
We are honored,
appreciate having me, and then hopefully we can train soon. I don't want to play with your spreader guard. I know that you're going to send me flying. As long as I can pass through my knees, because we all know that passing through your knees is the best way to go.
It is,
Definitely.
Everybody knows that. But yeah, as long as I can
Pretty
get through
much
my knees.
obvious.
Yeah, passing for the feet, you just don't do it.
Yeah. I don't know who does that.
Yeah. You'd have to be like some scrawny guy of Indian descent, probably.
Yeah. With a big mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
And easily picked on. Like, it's unfortunate how everybody kind of picks on. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I do appreciate that guy's hustle. He's resilient and persistent. It's good. These are good qualities.
He'd be osing this right now.
Yes.
He would ose to this, but he'd be like, "F you guys, but ose."
Yes.
we can send it to him. I think it's
We can tag him in it.
Yeah. Check out the last minute.
No, we can't tell him which time it is. He'll have to listen through all of
the
it.
entire thing. Yeah.
We gave you
It's
a
somewhere in
shout-out.
there.
Yeah, you got it shouted out.
You just
Rohan.
have to listen to it and find out where it is.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Peace out.
See ya.